Good morning, it's Kevin, the Paracordist. I'm doing this quick video to show you a simple but brilliant technique for making a loop with a 4-strand round braid, such that you have only 4 strands coming out instead of all 8. I learned this great technique from Ken Cardwell of knivesandlanyards.com. It's the key for me in my design of the Skogniv lanyard, which I did for the Adirondack Woodsman on YouTube. I needed to have a loop with a 4-strand round braid for a neck lanyard, but I desired to have only 4 working strands coming out because I wasn't sure what to do with all 8, and that's where Ken came in. This is also a very useful technique for creating a typical dog leash with a 4-strand round braid. Begin with the length of cord that's appropriate for your project. If you're not sure the best way to calculate the cord needed for your project, please check out one of my most recent blog posts on the topic. Form a bite on each of the 2 strands. Pass one through the other, like this, giving you 4 working strands. Then you begin the 4-strand round braid. And I do have a video on this, so I'm not going to do much explaining of the 4-strand round braid, although I'll link it here. Now, for those commenters who are concerned about noise in the background and will ask me to tell my secretary to stop typing so I can make a quiet video, I ask you this: would you prefer to hear my secretary typing or my kids screaming at the top of their lungs? This is a little bit sloppy. What I usually do when I tie a 4-strand round braid is I will fix this end, tie it to something so that I've got an even amount of tension when I work the braid. It's a little bit easier to get consistency. So I'm just trying to do a segment long enough to turn it back on itself and make the loop, and then I'll show you the technique. A little bit longer. Okay, for now, it's about as far as I'll go. If I was doing a neck lanyard or a dog leash, I would want to make this long enough that when I turned it back on itself like this, the loop would be desired size. One thing about working with the 4-strand round braid, before you transition into another knot, you need to secure this. It will unravel quite easily if you don't. There are a lot of techniques. Some people use a small piece of cord and do a constrictor knot. I find the simplest and most effective for me is to use a regular electrician's tape. Place it on the knot here. It's got some elasticity to it, so you can pull it tight as you go around, wrap the location, and then just rip it. The beauty of this stuff is it holds it tight, allows you to arrange the cords right after for going into your next knot. It's super easy to remove, and it doesn't leave a mark on the cord. So that's really my favorite temporary hold for a knot. Now, to one of the working ends of Paracord, I want to attach a fydd, or a paracord lacing needle. And this one here is the brass with a flat head. I sell this at Paracordist.com in the do-it-yourself tools section. It's threaded in one end with the paracord cut at an angle and burned slightly. You can just screw it on like that. Doesn't really matter which working end I choose. Okay, so that goes back to one of these. Now I simply want to utilize the fydd to send the cord through the lower bite formed when I started the 4-strand round braid. The reason I chose the brass fydd as opposed to the steel, the brass fydd has this flat head. It's a little bit longer than my 4mm by 4-inch fydd, and the head has a good prying ability. So I'm just going to kind of pry this up a little bit, work it in there, and then draw my paracord through. Okay. Now, the next thing to do is choose the knot that I'm going to work into these 4 strands to finish and close the loop. There are a number of options available to you with these 4 strands for closing this loop. When I did the Scogniv lanyard, actually I've done it 2 different ways. One way is I take, if I want a solid color knot here where these braids join at the loop, I'll take 2 of the same color and I'll tie a lanyard knot. Then I'll take the 2 strands of the other color and just tuck it through the middle of the lanyard knot before I tighten it. Then, using techniques I've shown in other videos for arranger pacing beads, I'll use the 2 cords in the lanyard knot to double the lanyard knot. Then you have still all 4 strands to work with, but you've got a what looks like or is a doubled lanyard knot all in one color. Now, if you want to mix the colors, you could also just use one of each color and do the same technique. A third option that will give you a very similar look is actually use all 4 strands in a man rope knot. With the man rope knot, as you've seen tied in my Steel Saints lanyard videos, you will have a knot that looks very, very similar here to the doubled lanyard knot, and you'll have 4 strands coming out. So it really is a matter of what you want to tie. I think the way I'll finish this one for this video is I'll use all these 4 strands here, and I will tie a simple wall knot and then tighten it up. To the extent possible, try to tie the knot using the direction that the cords already seem to want to lay down, and that will make the transition between the braid and the knot a little bit cleaner. So once you decide what that direction is, in this case I'm going to tie it clockwise, I think this will just result in the need for a little less dressing when I'm complete. Alright. I've got the knot formed. Before I undo the tape, I want to work it as tight as I can using my needle nose pliers. I want to draw the 4-strand round braid as closely as I can to the wall knot before I undo the braid. So there's just a few cords I'm going to work here. Okay, now to undo the tape. Oh, can you still hear that? There's really no escape. I guess while I'm working on this, I'll take a quick moment to address a comment I got recently about the number of people I've been blocking from the site. I just want you all to know as you watch this that my website, YouTube, and everywhere else where people can participate is family friendly. So if you comment using foul language, or you insult me or a member of my family, you'll just be blocked immediately without question or warning. But if you disagree with me, have some comments to share, that's great. That's what it's all about. I want it. I welcome it. Just keep it civil, that's all. Okay. Oops. So see this from the 4-strand braid? Some people will leave this and move on to the next knot, but do not complete and move on until you've worked all the slack out. You want to get every strand from the 4-strand braid worked into the wall knot or the next transition knot, whatever it happens to be, as tightly as possible. Alright, now this is pretty close and probably a good time to finish the video. You got 4 strands coming out here. You can go back into the 4-strand round braid and then continue on with the rest of your project. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great weekend.